I never liked drama. My father used to say emotions were weak spots and weak spots got you killed. His name was Richard Mercer. He built his company from almost nothing and guarded it like a fortress. He was hard, quiet, sure. And whether I wanted it or not, I learned from him. I learned how to stay still when I was boiling inside. I learned how to hide pain behind a flat face. I learned how to keep walking even when something inside me was breaking. Back then, if you had asked me if I believed in fate, I would have laughed. But now I know this. Some disasters walk toward you in slow motion. And sometimes the people closest to you light the match. My name is Daniel Mercer. I married Vanessa when we were both young. She was warm, bright, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make it feel lighter. I felt lucky to have her. Later we had a daughter, Emma. I worked hard. I gave my time, my money, my focus to that family. I tried to be a good husband, a good father. Maybe I was not always soft. Maybe too much of my father lived in me. But I stayed. I provided. I protected. 25 years of marriage is a lifetime. It is arguments and apologies, birthdays and hospital visits, bills, vacations, cold dinners, quiet mornings, little routines you think will last forever. I thought my life was solid. I thought I knew the people in my house. I was wrong. The day it all started looked normal. That was the worst part. It was August 27th. Hot as hell outside. The sun beat down on the city like it wanted to crack the streets open. But work had gone well. I closed a few deals, ended meetings early, and on the drive home I had a stupid little smile on my face. Our 25th anniversary was only a few days away. September 1st. I was thinking maybe I would surprise Vanessa with a trip. Some quiet place. Just us. Maybe try to find what we used to be. Instead, I walked into my kitchen and stepped straight into the end of my old life. Vanessa stood by the counter. Emma sat at the table. Both of them looked too still. Too ready. Like they had practiced this. I set my briefcase down. "Hey," I said. "What's going on?" Vanessa pointed to a chair. "Daniel, sit down." Emma leaned back. "Dad, we need to talk." There was something in her voice. Not fear. Not shame. Something worse. Confidence. I sat. I put my elbows on the table and looked at both of them. "All right," I said. "Talk." Vanessa took a breath. Her voice came out soft but steady. "We're 5 days away from 25 years, Daniel. And I've been thinking. A lot." I said nothing. She looked down for a second, then back at me. "I need change." My fingers touched the edge of the table. "What kind of change?" Emma answered before her mother could. "Mom wants an open marriage." She said it like she was announcing a holiday. And then she smiled. "I think it's a great idea." I turned my head slowly toward her. Emma kept going. "That's what modern couples do. People don't make such a big deal out of this anymore. Physical stuff isn't everything. If you trust each other, it shouldn't matter." I stared at her. That word, trust, coming from my daughter in that moment, was almost funny. Almost. "So let me get this straight," I said. "You're telling me this is normal now?" Emma shrugged. "You're old-fashioned, Dad. Love doesn't have to mean owning someone's body. If two people really love each other, they let each other be free." Inside, something started to burn. Not loud. Not wild. Just hot. Controlled. The kind of anger that sits very still. I looked at Vanessa. "Is this really what you want?" She bit her lip. Her eyes moved away, then back. "I'm not saying I hate my life," she said. "I don't. But I'm bored, Daniel. I'm tired of the same thing. The same routine. The same bed. The same man." She said it so plainly, like she was talking about changing grocery stores. Something twisted hard in my chest. For 1 second, I wanted to stand up and walk out of the house. But I stayed in the chair. My fingers started tapping the table. An old habit. Army Ranger days. Count. Breathe. Do not let them see the hit land. "So this is the plan?" I asked. "You date other men. And I do what exactly? Sit here and wave from the window?" Emma rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, Dad. Stop being dramatic. You can date too. Nobody's stopping you. Though honestly, that might be harder for you." Vanessa let out a short laugh. Emma grinned. "You'll probably need an app or something." Then both of them laughed like I was the joke. I folded my hands. Kept my voice even. "Is there already someone?" Vanessa stopped laughing. Only for a second. Then she nodded. "Yes." "Who?" Her lips parted. "It's Marcus Vale." I knew the name before she said another word. The restaurant owner on Avenue Street. Expensive place. Good wine. Smooth voice. I had taken clients there more times than I could count. Emma leaned forward, excited. Mom has great taste. He's gorgeous. I looked at my daughter. That's your opinion on this? Yes, she said. Absolutely. I turned back to Vanessa. So you already picked the man. She lifted her chin. I'm being honest with you. That almost made me laugh. Honest? After all that? I stood up and walked to the sink. The room went quiet behind me. I turned on the tap. Let the water run. Then I shut it off and faced them again. Vanessa, I said, this is not a small thing. You know that, right? She held my stare. I've never been more sure. I nodded once. Then I said the last thing they expected. Fine. I'm in. The silence after that felt like a gunshot. Emma blinked. Then her mouth lifted into a smug little smile. Really? Vanessa looked shocked. You'll agree? Yes, I said. On one condition. Emma sat up fast. There can't be conditions. That's controlling. I turned toward her so sharply she stopped talking. I decide the conditions. My voice was quiet. That made it worse. I looked at both of them. This house is mine. Your mother signed a prenup before we got married. My father made sure of that. So if you want this open arrangement, fine. But I decide the rules inside my property. Emma opened her mouth. I kept going. If either of you doesn't like that, you can leave. You can find another house and another life. Understood. Vanessa's face changed first. A small flicker. Fear. Emma tried to laugh it off. Dad, legally this is half Mom's house. Vanessa lifted a hand and stopped her. Her voice dropped. No. He's right. Emma turned to her. What? The prenup, Vanessa said. I signed it. The house is Daniel's. Emma's face lost color. She looked at me again. But you're not actually going to throw us out, right? I didn't answer. I just looked at her. Then I walked out. I left them sitting there with the question. That night I stood outside the kitchen and listened. Maybe that was low. I didn't care. Inside Emma whispered, he's bluffing. He'd never kick you out. You're the love of his life. Vanessa did not sound sure. You don't know your father the way I do. You mean husband? Emma snapped. I know what I said, Vanessa whispered. When he gets pushed, he can be ruthless. Emma huffed. He's just trying to scare you. Vanessa went quiet. Then she said something that hung in the dark. He was Army Ranger. Do you know what he did in Afghanistan? Emma's voice softened. I only know pieces. That's enough, Vanessa said. Enough to know he's not bluffing. I stood there in the hall, motionless. They had no idea. There were things in me I had buried a long time ago. Cold things. Careful things. I had packed them away under suits, meetings, and family dinners. But now those old parts of me were awake. And once that happened, people usually wished they had walked away sooner. The next morning I went to my lawyer. His name was Caleb Stone. I had known him since college. People liked to underestimate him because he joked too much. That was a mistake. He was deadly in a courtroom. I sat in his office, shut the door, and told him what I wanted. He listened. Then he leaned back and said, why not just file for divorce? Too easy. He raised one brow. I met his stare. I want them to feel what they started. Caleb smiled a little. That's dark. It's fair. He laughed under his breath. That sounds like something your father would say. I slid my notes across his desk. He read them. Then his face changed. Not shock. More like respect. You really thought this through. I did. The postnuptial agreement was simple in one way and brutal in another. It locked down the house, the business, any claim to support. If Vanessa wanted to sleep with other men, she could fund that life herself. Her dates were her expense, not mine. No outside partner was ever allowed in my home. Not Marcus. Not anyone. Monthly STD testing. Clear rules about any child conceived outside the marriage. Every soft little fantasy they had about freedom was about to meet paperwork. Caleb let out a low whistle. You're going for the throat. I thought of my father. No. I'm giving them exactly what they asked for. Reality. 2 days later, we all met in Caleb's office. Me. Vanessa. Emma. Vanessa's lawyer, Dana Brooks. Dana was tall, polished, and clearly not amused. She read the agreement one page at a time. By the end, she slapped it down on the table. This says that if Vanessa files for divorce while this agreement is active, she gets no alimony, no support, no share of the house, no share of the company. Correct, I said. Dana looked at Vanessa. Do you understand that? Vanessa frowned at me. Daniel, this is extreme. I kept my hands folded. If you leave me for another man, why would I fund that? Emma snapped, this is disgusting. I turned toward her. No. What's disgusting is sitting in my kitchen and telling me I should smile while my wife starts sleeping with someone else. Vanessa looked away. I kept talking. The household bills stay covered. That part doesn't change. But her private dating life is her cost. Not mine. Emma glared. You're humiliating her. I looked her dead in the eye. You told me love isn't about money. So I'm sure this won't matter. Dana looked back at Vanessa. I need to say this clearly. This agreement is one-sided. Very one-sided. Vanessa swallowed. Then she lifted her chin. I'll sign. Dana stared at her. Vanessa? I said I'll sign. She picked up the pen. For 1 second she looked at me like she expected me to stop her. I didn't. She signed. Slowly. Art. Like every stroke of the pen was meant to challenge me. Then she slid it across the table. Caleb took it. Emma sat there fuming. Dana looked disgusted. And I sat still. Because the trap works best when people build half of it themselves. The next few weeks were strange. At work I was normal. Meetings, calls, contracts, expansion plans. All the usual things. At home everything felt poisoned. Vanessa wasted no time setting up her date with Marcus. Emma cheered her on like a coach. At dinner she kept taking shots at me. Hey Dad, maybe try Tinder? She smirked over her drink. I heard even old guys can get lucky on there. I cut my food. Chewed. Swallowed. Said nothing. Then the day came. Vanessa's big night with Marcus. So I made one of my own. Marcus had a daughter. Her name was Lily Vale. She was 22. Emma's age. Beautiful, yes. But that wasn't the point. What mattered was this. She was smart. Legal. And she hated how arrogant her father was. We had spoken at a few events before. I reached out, half testing the idea. Half seeing how far the world had really tilted. To my surprise, she said yes. That night, while Vanessa dressed for Marcus, I picked up Lily and took her to a private charity event at a luxury hotel. It was for veterans. A cause close to me for reasons I did not discuss much. Lily wore black. Simple. Elegant. She carried herself well. Not like a reckless kid. Not like some shallow rebellion. She was sharp. People noticed us the second we walked in. Some stared. Some whispered. A few smiled, the kind of smile rich people wear when they smell scandal. I didn't care. Lily handled every conversation with calm confidence. Finance, business, travel. She could keep up with anyone in the room. I introduced her as my date. And I meant every word. That was the point. If Vanessa and Emma thought I was some broken old man who would sit at home and rot, I wanted them to choke on that idea. By morning the whole thing had spread. When I walked into the house the next day, Emma was already waiting. She was standing in the living room, shaking with rage. You took Marcus's daughter out? I shut the door behind me. I did. What is wrong with you? I took off my jacket. Folded it over my arm. She's an adult. We attended a charity event. Emma stared at me like she wanted to scream and hit me at the same time. She's my age. I faced her. Interesting. So age matters now. Her mouth opened. Then closed. I took one step closer. When it's your mother sleeping with Marcus, I'm supposed to be modern. But when I take his adult daughter to dinner, suddenly I'm sick. Emma's cheeks turned red. That's different. Why? She had no answer. Just anger. Raw and useless. She made a choking sound, spun around, and stormed off toward her room. Vanessa came through the hallway a minute later. She looked pale. Tired. But she said nothing. She grabbed her purse and left for errands with a fake little smile stretched across her face. The silence in that house fell brittle after that. Then came the weekend blow-up. I was in the living room reading reports when Vanessa came in fast. Her eyes were red. Emma followed right behind her with her arms folded. Vanessa stopped in front of me. I want to close the marriage. I looked up. She was breathing hard. This is over. Enough. You're humiliating me. I set the papers down. You opened it. You're dating Marcus's daughter. You slept with Marcus. Emma jumped in. This is not what Mom meant. I almost smiled. The plan changed. Vanessa slammed a stack of envelopes onto the table. I'm done, Daniel. I can't do this. I can't watch you walk around with some girl young enough to be our daughter. I can't live like this. I leaned back. You wanted freedom. I made a mistake. Clearly. Her eyes filled. Can we just go back? Please? Can we act like none of this happened? I crossed one leg over the other. No. She stared at me. Emma stared too. Vanessa's voice dropped. What do you mean no? I mean the marriage stays open. Her face drained. You're punishing me. I gave a small shrug. You asked for this. Emma stepped forward. Dad, she said she doesn't want it anymore. Be reasonable. I stood up then. Slowly. The room went still. Did either of you care about being reasonable when you sat me down and told me my wife was bored with my body? Neither of them spoke. I grabbed my wallet from the side table. Did either of you care about my dignity? Still nothing. I headed for the door. I have a date, I said. Don't wait up. Vanessa looked crushed. Emma looked ready to explode. I left anyway. 2 days later, Emma cornered me in the hallway before breakfast. Her eyes were puffy. Her voice was tight. Mom cries every night. I kept walking toward the kitchen. That's unfortunate. She stepped in front of me. She's miserable. I looked at her. Because her plan blew up. Emma clenched her hands. Can you stop doing this? Just stop seeing Lily. I moved around her. If I wanted to stop, I would. She followed me. If you want the marriage closed, then act like it. If you want divorce, do that. But don't torture Mom. I turned so fast she stopped. You were fine with torturing me. Her face flinched. It wasn't like that. Really? You laughed in my face. She looked away. It was about empowerment. I gave her a cold stare. Spare me. Then I changed the subject so sharply it hit her like a slap. How's your car lease? She blinked. What? It ends soon, doesn't it? Who's covering it? Confusion spread over her face. Dad, you always pay it. Not anymore. She stared. What? The car. The credit cards. Tuition. I'm done. Emma laughed once. A broken, disbelieving sound. You can't be serious. I can. I'm your daughter. I picked up my coffee. And you chose your side. She stepped closer. You're going to make me beg? I took a sip. Try working. Tears sprang into her eyes. You're a monster. I set the mug down and looked at her without blinking. That was enough. She ran. 2 weeks crawled by. Emma kept waiting for me to cave. I didn't. Then the car company sent the notice. One afternoon I came home and found her on the front step with a paper in her hand and panic all over her face. They're going to repossess my car. I opened the door. Then I guess they are. She followed me inside. I need that car. You need a job. I can't take a bus everywhere like some loser. I stopped and looked back at her. If your pride can't survive public transportation, that sounds like a personal issue. Her face twisted. You promised I wouldn't have to worry during college. I did. Until you helped your mother try to humiliate me. She stared at me like I had changed into someone else. I have $300 in my account. I walked into the living room. Then budget carefully. She made a sound of pure frustration. I can't pay all this. Ask Marcus. She froze. What? Or one of your mother's future lovers. Maybe one of them is generous. Her mouth fell open. That's cruel. I gave her a thin smile. I'm just using your logic. Everyone's free now, remember? She slapped the arm of the couch. Why are you being like this? Why are you asking now? Another voice said. Vanessa stood in the doorway. Her arms were crossed. She looked tired but angry too. She glanced at Emma, then at me. Why are you punishing both of us? I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm refusing to reward disloyalty. Emma's face crumpled. Vanessa looked at her and softened. Go upstairs, honey. Let me talk to him. Emma hesitated, then stormed off. Vanessa waited until she was gone. Then she walked closer. Enough. I said nothing. She swallowed. I'm done with Marcus. That got my attention. He already pulled away, she said. Canceled dates. Started acting distant. He turned out to be exactly what you thought he was. I leaned against the chair. And I was wrong. The words seemed to hurt her. Can we stop this now? Please? Close the marriage. And this stupid mess. I'll sign anything. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I said, no. Her lips parted. Why? Because 2 weeks ago you tried to close it. I said no then too. She looked desperate now. Daniel, I can't do this anymore. I can't stand thinking about you with Lily. I can't stand seeing her. She's Emma's age. It's tearing me apart. I folded my arms. You should have thought about that before. Tears filled her eyes. Please. Let's just be a couple again. Even if it's broken. Even if it's ugly. Just not this. I shook my head. You open the door. Keep it open. She sank onto the couch and covered her face. When she spoke, her voice was muffled. You've become cruel. I looked at her and felt almost nothing. The man you married died the day you asked for other men. Then I walked away. A month later, Emma moved out. She bounced from one friend's place to another. Nothing stable. Nothing easy. Vanessa stayed in the house, but she was falling apart. She walked around half-dressed. Barely ate. Sometimes I caught her looking through old photo albums, crying so quietly it was almost eerie. One afternoon she found me on the back porch. Her face looked thinner. Her shoulders looked sharp. Daniel, she said. I need to tell you something. I waited. I've been seeing doctors. I looked at her. There was real fear in her eyes now. What for? She took a shaky breath. I tested positive for an STD. The words hung there between us. I got it from Marcus. She shut her eyes. I didn't know. I never thought he would. She stopped and swallowed. I'm on medication. They say it's treatable. I stood very still. Part of me felt a brief sting of pity. Another part of me was already shutting that door. She wiped at her face. So I hope you're happy. I spoke carefully. I'm not happy, Vanessa. She gave a bitter laugh. No. No. But I didn't do this to you. Her eyes flashed. You wanted revenge. You asked for an open marriage. Then you ran straight into another man's bed. That part was your choice. A tear slid down her cheek. You hate me. I looked past her at the fence. At the sky. Anywhere but her. I think you hate what you did. She stared at me. Then her voice turned hard. Be careful with your little fling. Diseases are real. I finally looked back at her. Lily is not a fling. That hit her. I saw it in her face. She turned and walked inside without another word. I stayed on the porch a long time after that. The wind was cooler by then. Autumn coming in. I felt something like sadness. Small. Faint. But not enough to change anything. 3 weeks later, Emma came back. She slammed the front door so hard it rattled the frame. I was in the kitchen reading emails. She stormed in wild-eyed. I have overdue loans. I kept my eyes on my phone. I'm aware loans exist. Her voice shook. I can't pay them. You need to. I set the phone down. No. Mom can't help me. She barely covers her own stuff now. Marcus disappeared. I have nowhere to turn. I met her stare. You're an adult. Figure it out. Her nostrils flared. You would really let your own daughter drown in debt? I leaned back against the counter. No. You're the one drowning. I just stopped pulling you out. Her hands curled into fists. You're ruining my future because of a grudge. No. You ruined your future by believing money would always save you. She took a step toward me. I straightened. Every muscle in me locked. Don't? The word came out low. Dangerously low. She froze. If you want help, I said, try a job. A real one. Not excuses. She was breathing hard now. Fine. Remember this. When you're old and need somebody, I won't be there. I almost smiled. I'll survive. She stared at me one more second. Then she turned and left. 5 minutes later, the front door slammed again. In the weeks after that, the house became a graveyard before the funeral. Vanessa barely moved through it. She looked sick even before anyone said the word. Sometimes she would stop me in the hallway. Can we talk? Or, Daniel, I made dinner. Maybe we can sit down. I never said yes. Because by then something else had begun. What started with Lily as a message had become real. Somewhere in all that wreckage I had started caring about her. Really caring. She was working on a modeling portfolio. Ambitious, focused, funny in a quiet way. When we were alone I could actually breathe. One night in her apartment she asked me about Afghanistan. Nobody had asked that the right way in years. Most people wanted a movie version. She wanted the truth. So for the first time in decades I told someone what I had done, what I had seen, what parts of me never really came home. She listened. No judgment. No fear. No trick questions. She did not use my pain against me. That mattered more than I expected. Then one evening, with 2 glasses of wine on the table between us, Lily went very still. I'm pregnant. For a second the whole room disappeared. I heard the clock, the refrigerator hum, my own breathing. How far? About 8 weeks. She watched my face closely. You're the father. And I want to keep the baby. 100 feelings hit me at once. Fear. Hope. A sharp, strange joy. I stood there trying not to show too much. My father's training was deep. But underneath it, something warm broke through. A child. Another chance. Maybe a chance to do this right. You're sure? She nodded. I am. I know this is complicated. I know how this looks. But I'm not running. I moved toward her. Took her hands. All right, I said. We'll figure it out. She let out the breath she had been holding. Thank you. I pulled her close. She rested her head against me. Then she said softly, I never wanted this to be only revenge on my father. Marcus. Even his name annoyed me then. I kissed her forehead. We're not talking about him tonight. When I got home, Vanessa was on the couch watching some reality show with the sound low. The second I walked in, she muted it. Where were you? With Lily. I started toward the stairs. Daniel. I stopped. She looked exhausted. Not angry now. Just worn out. I'm sorry, she said. For everything. But can we please decide something? Either close this marriage or file for divorce. I can't keep living in this limbo. I turned halfway back toward her. If we divorce, you leave with almost nothing. She gave a tired nod. I know. For a moment I really looked at her. Her cheeks were hollow. Her eyes were dark underneath. Her hair had lost its shine. For one quick second I remembered the young woman I married. The one who laughed easily. The one who believed in us. The sadness hit fast. Then it was gone. We'll talk about it, I said. And I went upstairs. 2 months later, Lily gave birth early. A baby boy. We named him Owen. The second I held him, everything else dimmed. The office mattered less. Old anger mattered less. I started stepping away from work more. Delegated more to my senior team. Spent my time with Lily and the baby. Not long after Owen was born, I proposed. I wanted him raised in something solid. Something clean. Lily said yes. We had a small private ceremony. And yes, I made sure there was a prenup. That part made me almost laugh. I had become my father in more ways than I ever wanted. But he had been right about one thing. You protect what matters before the storm, not after. Still, Vanessa did not disappear quietly. One night, very late, my phone rang. I saw her name. I answered. Her voice was weak. Daniel, I think I made a mistake. I need to see you. I'm not feeling right. I closed my eyes for 1 second. Then I answered. Call your parents. Or call an ambulance if it's a medical emergency. Silence. Then she whispered, I need you. I looked at Owen sleeping nearby. At Lily curled on the couch. And something in me hardened all over again. I have a newborn, Vanessa. I'm not your rescue anymore. 5 long seconds passed. Then I heard her crying. I hate you. The line went dead. That was the last time we ever spoke on the phone. A few weeks later, I filed for divorce. I told Caleb to move quietly. No fights. No noise. No public mess. He handled it fast. Cold. Clean. Vanessa signed without putting up a war. Maybe she was too tired. Maybe she knew there was nothing left to fight for. After that, she vanished from my life. I heard she went to stay with her parents. I did not ask questions. I put my energy into Lily and Owen. Into building something new out of all that damage. As for Emma, I heard things here and there. One rumor said she had taken a job at a fast food place. One afternoon I drove past it. Then I stopped. I went in. There she was. Hair tied back. Face flushed. Moving fast between the kitchen and the counter. She did not see me. I did not speak to her. I just stood there with my order number in my hand and watched. She looked tired. But healthier. More grounded. Like life had finally forced her feet onto solid ground. I took my lunch and left without a word. And as strange as it sounds, I felt a small, quiet pride. She was learning. The hard way. But learning. 5 years passed. Owen grew into a loud, happy little boy. Lily and I built a steady life. Peaceful mostly. I never contacted Vanessa. I never contacted Emma either. Sometimes I heard little updates through other people. Emma had another job now. A small apartment. Slowly paying off her loans. Good. She was finally standing on her own. Then one Sunday morning the phone rang. I was in the living room with Owen, helping him sort out crayons and paper. Lily was outside in the yard with coffee, enjoying the sun. I checked the screen. Vanessa's father. I hadn't spoken to him since the divorce. I answered. Hello. There was a pause. Then his voice came through, low and unsteady. Daniel. Vanessa passed away last night. For a second I couldn't speak. My hand tightened around the phone. What happened? His breath shook on the other end. She'd been living with us. Her health kept getting worse. That infection, the one she got from that man, it never fully left. Too many complications. Hospital in and out for months. He stopped. I could hear him trying not to break. Last night she just didn't wake up. I stood there in the middle of the room with Owen's crayons at my feet and the whole past rushing back like cold water. "I'm sorry," I said. The words felt small. Too small. He let out a tired breath. "I thought you should know. Thank you for telling me." Another pause. Then the line went dead. I lowered the phone slowly. The house was full of morning light. Owen was bent over a paper airplane, coloring one wing blue and the other red. Outside, Lily was humming to herself. Coffee in one hand. Sun on her face. And inside me, everything twisted together. Pity. Relief. Regret. Bitterness. Not one clean feeling. Just weight. Heavy, final weight. Because some lines, once crossed, never uncross. Some choices keep moving long after people stop talking. I thought about Vanessa in those last months. How many times she must have replayed that kitchen conversation. How many times she must have wished she could pull the words back into her mouth. But life does not work that way. You say it. You do it. Then you live inside what comes next. I set the phone down. Then I reached out and gently ruffled Owen's hair. He looked up at me with bright eyes. "Dad, wanna see something?" I forced a small smile. "Yeah, buddy," I said. "Show me."